This forecast update effective around 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on Wednesday, October 2nd, 2013. And guys, we've been watching what has now been designated a few days ago as 97L Invest. It has not been looking good up until now. And then the models have been back and forth on development of this system, but it's starting to look pretty good this morning. Here's the most recent infrared satellite loop. And as you can see, a big ball of convection has developed this morning. This is the most convection that we've seen over the last 72 to 96 hours. Going to switch you over to the thunderstorm color curve loop, and as you can see, convection is increasing this morning. Now, we're not completely sold on the idea of where this is going to go. Most models have been suggesting, when they first started off, was suggesting that it was going to maybe travel over the western tip of Cuba and then recurve into Florida. They have now shifted to more of a west track, shifting towards the Yucatan Channel and then up towards the central Gulf of Mexico and then out towards the Panhandle or Apalachicola. But we're not completely sold on that yet, and we'll show you why. When we go into the floater loop, you can see that most of the convection is over here off to the eastern side of what appears to be the low-level circulation in here approaching the Gulf of Honduras. Now, the problem with this is it appears that it's taking a more west-northwest track than what the models had been suggesting, and the interaction with the tip of the Yucatan Peninsula could have a greater effect on this system if it happens to travel over the land, and the land interaction would prevent or inhibit any further organization of this system. So we're going to be keeping an eye on this, but for the surfers in the Gulf Coast, it does look like that there's going to be a possible surf alert coming this weekend as this system gets into the central Gulf of Mexico. Latest Tropical Atlantic Forecast Branch was forecasting seas as high as 14 to 15 feet in about 48 to 72 hours. We're not expecting much for the west coast of Florida, but the Panhandle beaches and Texas should see some large increasing surf once this system gets into the central Gulf of Mexico. The other thing that we're looking at, because of a couple of contests that are coming up, we've got the Florida State Surfing Championships October 10th through the 13th, I believe it is, and we also have the Atlantic Surfing Federation Championships down in Sebastian Inlet, I believe the same weekend, but models are starting to hint at an uptick in tropical activity, and we have begun monitoring a weak tropical wave in here east of the islands. It's located right around in here. I don't know if you can see my mouse cursor, but it's located right in here. Models are suggesting that this tropical wave is going to begin to lift off towards the west-northwest, and you can already kind of see the lift this morning starting to associate with this, and it's going to lift, or the models are suggesting that once it gets in here to a little bit more north latitude, that the high pressure that's building into the Atlantic is going to push it off towards the west and towards the Bahamas. So we are taking a look at that, and whoops, sorry about that. We'll switch over to a little bit wider view, and again, here it is right here, weak tropical wave. Models suggesting that it's going to lift off towards the west-northwest and approach the Bahamas around the weekend of October 9th. So there's plenty more model runs to watch, and we'll be doing specific updates for the Florida State Championship probably starting tomorrow. But taking a look at the models, this is the Canadian model, and this is for Wednesday, October 9th. And you can see that the Canadian model, although the Canadian model has a characteristic of overdeveloping tropical waves or areas of low pressure, it does show an area of low pressure, possible tropical storm northeast of Puerto Rico by Wednesday of October 9th. Looking at the European model is a little bit faster in their solution. And the European model, again, is suggesting that that tropical wave is going to lift off towards the west-northwest. This is for the same date, October 9th, and showing a tropical storm in here just to the north of the Bahamas. So, guys, stay tuned. That's all we got for you for now, but we will be stepping up our updates over the next couple of days as 97L Invest, possible tropical storm Karen comes to fruition, and also the possibility of tropical storm Lorenzo east of Florida or northeast of the Bahamas here coming up in the forecast. Stay tuned, guys.